want to revisit a conversation. So, I want to revisit this conversation, right? Because this woman that you see right here, this woman right here, I did a review video on her a couple days ago. I think it was Monday. I did a review video on her on Monday where she was basically crying and complaining about not being able to find a job. I don't know if you guys remember it. Let me refresh your memory. I did a review video on this woman, and she was basically complaining about being unemployed. She cried to her boyfriend and said, oh my God, her name is Hannah Wu. Or no, Julia Faye. Her name is Julia Faye. Julia Faye. And so she was crying. Let me make sure of something. So this woman, Julia Faye, because I like to give credit to all of the content creators. There's a lot of ambulances out here. Or fire trucks anyways. I like to give credit to the content creators. So basically what she did was she was complaining about the fact that she was getting rejected and she was having a problem, right? And so she called and she cried to her boyfriend. So let me revise y'all memory and let me bring y'all up to speed. Bring y'all up to speed for some of the people that wasn't necessarily there when we first had this conversation. But long story short, she was even crying before she ever got the rejection. And she was like, yo, I'm going to get rejected. I'm going to cry. And then they rejected her and then she cried. Then she called her boyfriend and then she got back into bed the next day. And this is her the next day getting into bed. And so she spent all of her time in the bed the next day and so on and so forth, right? So we did that review video. And then for some reason, I just had this sneaking suspicion. And I was thinking to myself, let me go back and review this. Was I a little too hard on this woman saying that she need to put her big girl panties up and all of that? And then I realized that prior to that, she actually quit her job. So she's on this journey of trying to find a new position and trying to get hired. And she's crying about the rejection that came along with it. But she actually had a really, really great job at Spotify as a data scientist. And she left without a backup plan. She left without having another job. She left because she felt like, and I was having this conversation with the women yesterday. She left her job as a data scientist. Wasn't fired, wasn't laid off. She actually recorded it, and I'm going to show it to you guys on this upcoming video. She left her job without having something else because she just felt like that she had emotionally outgrew, or it was too tough for her at this point, or she liked the first 3 years, but she didn't like the current direction of what things was happening in or whatever. So instead of her finding another job, she decided that she wanted to quit. And now she's making videos about her job search and complaining and crying about the fact that she ain't got no income and she ain't got no money coming in. I couldn't believe it. I had to go back in the archives and I went through her channel and I'm like, let me see what's going on. Because I was actually concerned and I was trying to figure out why is she having a difficult time actually finding a position? Is there something wrong with her? What's her work history? I wanted to know what she did for a living. Take a look. This happened just a few weeks before she started going on her job search.
Because I am quitting my job today. I am so nervous right now. Oh my God, my heart is beating out of my chest.
How are you doing?
I'm good, how are you? Cool, well I think this is our dev convo. Is there anything like work related that you'd like to talk about first or? Cool, so I have some news for you. I'm putting in my 2 weeks. I think I'm just gonna take a break. I don't really have anything lined up as of right now. Well, I did a lot of thinking over the break, and I just felt like this would be a good move for me in the long term.
I'm keep telling y'all that a lot of y'all have self-inflicted wounds, and this is why it's so difficult for me personally when I review these videos to feel sorry for you guys. You guys are working from home, you're sitting in your bedroom, you got the big white windows, Everything is great. You got these high paying jobs. And then you get a mental health check day where you take a break or a vacation and you get inspired by something else. And next thing you know, you make a dumb decision. You have a self-inflicted wound. And this is how I know a lot of y'all ain't living in the real world. I see these videos, y'all send them to me, and then I have to do a little bit more research. And I realize that the stuff that y'all doing or the reason that y'all in this situation is because it's self-inflicted. This had nothing to do with a woman getting laid off or a problem or issue or they having problems at their job. This is them. They woke up one day and they was thinking about it over the break. And her boyfriend should have told her, girl, if you don't sit your butt down and if you want another job, then start getting your resume together and putting it in and start finding something else. I've never heard of somebody just leaving with no safety net whatsoever. Maybe this is a woman thing. Maybe this is the new thing that comes along with diversity, equity, and inclusion, women's rights, all of this stuff. But it's stupid. It's just dumb. It's dumb as hell. And this is why I be cracking up. And y'all be like, oh, Anton, you're not passionate. You don't have enough empathy. No, I'm paying attention to what's going on. Ain't nobody stupid.
Surprise! To be honest, I've been holding off on making this video because
then she was crying in the next video.
Just don't know what to say, but I've decided to speak to you all as if I were speaking to my friends in real life and have this be a conversation from the heart versus something more scripted. So let's start from the beginning. As many of you all know, I'm a data scientist at Spotify. I've been here for 4.5 years, almost 5 years, and I started as an intern and then I converted to a full-time employee. Getting this position at this company has been a dream. It was my dream job all throughout college.
This is the type of stuff ladies, when I had this conversation with y'all yesterday and I said, hey, don't make no emotional decisions. Everything is logic. Everything is business. Remove the emotion from it so you can then, have a clear conscience and you can see clearly on what you got going on. This is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. This is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. If I see a man do this, I know he in his feminine energy. This is what you dreamed of. You got your dream job. It got a little hard on your dream job and now you decided that you wanted to quit? Jesus Christ.
And
everything that she's learning right now and she's going through, she deserves it.
It felt so surreal to be in this privileged position where I get to say that I did the thing. And for the first, I would say 3 years, it was an amazing experience, probably the best corporate experience I could ever ask for. I think for me, where things started to shift was the past year and a half-ish. I'm gonna keep this portion short because there's a lot of nuances that just happen day to day and I can remember all of them, but I also don't want to. And the purpose of this video is to not talk poorly about my experience there because the majority of my experience at Spotify has been nothing short of amazing. But obviously there are reasons as to why I decided to leave and to leave without a job lined up. For the past year and some change, I've been working on the highest priority project in my org as the sole data scientist for the majority of it. And I was working like 10 to 14 hour days, give and take, for months on end. And I'm sure there are folks out there who work more demanding jobs, but that was just not the expectation that I had of my role. And I do think the tipping point for me was just the constant pressure from certain stakeholders. Like I said, this wasn't just for a week or two, it was for months. And at a certain point, I started to develop insomnia. This entire situation at work made me so anxious that I couldn't sleep, I didn't exercise, I didn't really do anything except for work. And a big side effect from a demanding 9-to-5 is you getting pulled away from your real life. So at one point I had to stop creating videos.
You got pulled away from your real life. So you making money so that you can be able to survive and thrive and live wasn't your real life. Your real life was being able to make videos for people and not even really make no money as a result of it. It was taking me away from my real life. Ma'am, so you got to work some 10, 12-hour days during the week. I do it every single day. I stopped working out, my mental health. I wasn't able to make videos for you guys. So, I decided it's time to let go. So you don't get another job. You just go ahead and just hit the button on them. I got it. We got it. We got it.
And this is the primary way where I kind of release my stress, something that I love to do, and this was taken away from me. In September, I posted one video. In October, I posted 2 videos. And then I had this one video that I pushed out with a really cryptic title because I was just kind of really fed up, but I couldn't really tell you all explicitly what was happening. So I kind of just vented all of my anger and put it into this one video. And then when I did push myself to post videos, I realized that I just didn't have time to do anything else in my life, which is not really healthy. I was really burnt out at that time and I failed to recognize it. I think it took my therapist to tell me that. It took my manager to kind of say.
Shout out to therapists encouraging you to do I told y'all therapy was a scam. Y'all need some life coaching. Y'all don't need no therapy. Y'all need a life coach.
It sounds like you're burnt out. And I'm like, oh, really? And then I think the final push was these constant breakdowns for no reason where I'd just be crying because I'm so stressed. Another factor was that the economy is really bad, so there wasn't a lot of upward mobility or movement. I think I had to really make an extremely strong case. And even on top of working these insane hours, even on top of working on a very high impact, high visibility project, I think my career progression wasn't very clear here. It was extremely stagnant. I felt like I was putting in so much work and I wasn't really moving anywhere. Those were just all signals for me to take a step back and say, hey, Julia, maybe you should reevaluate your current situation and seek other opportunities. So I decided to start job searching around October. The market was pretty bad back then, but I think it's kind of worse right now. So I just shot my shot. I got around 5 HR calls. 3 of them amounted to a role that I was interested in, and they were also equally interested in me. And then it took a month and a half for me to get to final rounds with one of the companies. And at the end of the day, they called me and said that I was a great candidate, only positive reviews, but they decided to go with someone more senior with more years of experience. I was just so out of love with the thing that I was doing. I just wanted to escape with the first opportunity that I got. So I was really, really upset. I remember calling my sister on the phone and just bawling my eyes out. So that was the end of November. And then the week after, we got the layoff announcements. Have another vlog for that. That was a really, really tough week because the same week my grandpa passed. So I was like, okay, I'm going away for a month. This is not ideal. I wish I had a job lined up and I can just quit and take this vacation relaxed and happy, but that's not the case. So I'm just gonna go on vacation, kind of think through things and come back with a game plan. This past trip to China was just so eye-opening to me because obviously I experienced the pain of losing someone that's very, very close to me for the first time in my life. But also, when I attended my grandpa's funeral, I was able to meet a lot of different people from different walks of his life. And I got to learn so much about his life, not only through the beautiful eulogy that my dad did, kind of met him. I was like this when I met him. I feel like life is short because life has been really long. Warranted that not everyone's going to live until they're 89, but when you live in New York City, one, you're always comparing yourself to other people, and 2, you're comparing yourself to yourself and just racing against time. But for what, right? Why? So it truly is removing yourself from your environment gives you this clarity that.
So long story short, what she's basically saying is that it was layoffs at Spotify. She wasn't one of the people that was laid off at Spotify, but then things were stressful. A life event happened. She decided to go to the funeral. When she came back from the time that she was at wherever it was that she was at, she had this epiphany, which then led for her to then say, hey guys, I'm gonna put in my 2 weeks. I don't even want to work here anymore. And I'm gonna take a different job opportunity, even though I had already experienced the rejection that came along with the fact that the job market wasn't as robust as I thought that it was. Interesting. So you realize that the job market was messed up. You looked for another job while you was working at that job. It didn't work out for you. You still decided to put in your 2 weeks because you don't like the fact that things got a little bit rough and you need to do what you got to do until you can do what you want to do. Jesus Christ. This is messed up. This is so stupid. Well, welcome to the real world, baby. Welcome to the real world. Life comes at you fast. You better learn how to duck. You better learn how to duck, baby. Life comes at you fast. Welcome. So I'm glad that I did a little bit more deep diving to understand what was going on. I hope that the people that surround her is not necessarily enabling her, but they are being smart about giving her a reality check of what's really happening out here in these streets, because the streets don't love you, baby girl. It's going to be rough for you out here in these streets.